Hello, everyone, and welcome to the continuation of the Mega Man 6. Oh, pardon me, a few audio issues here. Okay, sorry, just a bit of a technological glitch on my end. Anyways, this is the Mega Man 6 tournament. I believe that it's the quarterfinals. It's Madu versus melloflowz. Madu has the third best PP of everyone in the tournament, while Mello has the sixth. But given what I've seen of Mello throughout the tournament, this is looking to be a pretty exciting race. And it looks like they're both ready to start. So, without any further ado, let's get this underway. Alright, I believe that the race should be starting quite soon. Before the race begins, I should probably mention the key aspect of Mega Man 6 speedruns that differentiate it from all other speedruns of Mega Man games with sliding. And all those other games, when you slide, or, well, you really just lower your hitbox and increase your speed for a set distance. That allows you can immediately jump out of the slide. However, in Mega Man 6, you cannot jump out of the slide. Instead, all you can do is cancel the slide and come to a halt. So with that, the speedrun requires a lot of finger gymnastics, or the ability to quickly cancel your slide and then make a jump. So all in all, this is one of the... Oh, pardon me while I interrupt my own commentary, but Mello just got a really cool thing called a ladder jump. You see, in Mega Man 6, you climb down a ladder for a couple frames, or you would drop off the ladder. You sort of enter a standing state, and you can use that to jump up the ladder. And of course, ladders are pretty slow in all Mega Man games, so the less time you spend on the ladder, the better. But yeah, that was an absolutely insane start to the speedrun, though. Meanwhile, when the man stage, the main obstacle could be argued pandas. They take the equivalent of 6 buster shots to kill, and 1 charge shot is the equivalent of 3 lemons. So it requires both the charging and of the buster and the smashing. Some of them, like when you just saw Mello mow through, you needed to smash all 6 shots, which is not as easy as it seems. Now, as the Madu approaches Windman, this fight is, as far as Buster-only fights go, rather easy. If you stay a set distance away from Windman, then his one range attack will go right over and under you. The other main piece of tech for the fight are these slide cancels. which help charge up your buster oh so slightly faster. Which, of course, is important, because you want to get one man out of the way as possible. Finally, you might have noticed Mellow bouncing up against the right side of the wall. That is a trick that reduces lag, and we'll probably be seeing it for most of the Robot Masters when it's possible to do so. Getting into Flame Man, the main object of concern here are these oil pits. Those enemies that float through the sky are called flame tellies, and they can light those oil pits on fire, and the fire is the equivalent of instant death spikes. However, a unique attribute of the fire is that if a certain oil pit is lit, it shares an address with another oil pit later in the stage. So if one oil pit gets lit, another one down the stretch will be lit as well. Furthermore, if you die, then the pits stay lit, which creates a few problems, given that you slide in a lot of these pits just to save time. So deaths can be rather punishing on this stage for that reason. And Madu gets through safely, as does melloflowz. Now on to Flame Man. Flame Man can jump, which can lose you some time, unfortunately, but it's not that much of a time loss. However, it can create a few problems when coupled with the really long invincibility frames of Mega Man 6 Robot Masters. However, looks like Mellow got no jumps there. As for Madu, looks like he had a pretty clean fight as well. Getting into Blizzard Man, this is a stage with ice physics, which we all know and love dearly. Okay, probably not. But anyways, the important thing is that when it comes to slide canceling, there are two methods of doing so. One of them is by pressing the A button. The other is by pressing left. However, in Blizzard Man stage, pressing left makes you turn left. Well, actually, that's true for all stages. But with the ice physics of Blizzard Man stage, it is quite important that you do A cancels more often than not, because pressing left to cancel your slide can cause some undesired problems with slide canceling, as the ice physics make it hard for you to reaccelerate. Meanwhile, Mellow is approaching a place where he can do a trick called the bomb jump. However, he didn't. The main thing that happens there is you try and slide under those two remote bombs at Blizzard Man's boss gate. However, making sure that you get to the boss gate is entirely dependent on subpixels, so it's a pretty unreliable trick and somewhat unadvisable in a race setting such as this. And we are now currently experiencing what a Twitch chat member yesterday wisely called melloflowz. Unfortunately, these buffers are a part of every Twitch stream at some point, whether you like it or not. So there's not much to see here. And it looks like Madu has unfroze, and he has just beaten Blizzard Man as well. Blizzard Man's weapon is the Blizzard attack. You won't be seeing it that often. It's mainly used for Plant Man's weakness. Meanwhile, the Flame Blast, the weapon that you get from... Meanwhile... Oh, it appears melloflowz as... No, wait, never mind, that's a timer discrepancy. Madu is still in the lead, I believe. Anyways, as you can... The weapon that you can see Mello using, the Flame Blast, is pretty good. Deals the equivalent of 4 lemons to every enemy... Well, that's not a boss in the game. So, you can use it to great effect by taking out those gorillas. They have, I believe, 24 or 28 health, and no invisibility frames. So the Flame Blast really mows through them, as you just saw Madu doing right there. The Flame Blast is also pretty useful throughout the Plant Man stage, just because of how so many of the enemies can get obliterated in one shot. Meanwhile, Madu hit a trick called platforms, where those platforms that he hopped on and then immediately hopped off, you're supposed to hop. You're supposed to shoot them open with your buster and then bounce on them, but you have a 6-frame window to jump off of them. It saves a few seconds. Meanwhile, anyway, Madu has now arrived at Plant Man, and he's trying to get the manip, which he does. The way the manipulation works is if you stand at a certain spot inside Plant Man's hitbox, then he walks around for a lot longer than normal, which in turn allows you to get multiple shots with the Blizzard attack in on him. It's a pretty important trick because without the manipulation, you can only get the 1 hit in per shield cycle, or 2 if you take a damage boost. The next stage is Tomahawk Man, a continuation of the Mega Man 6 weakness wheel. Once again, the Flame Blast is on full display. And right as I say that, Mello mows through a Met Dropper mini-boss, just like that. As you can see, Flame Blast is probably the most used weapon in the run, and oh, Mello got another ladder jump. Can we get some hype in the Twitch chat for that? Oh, and he got a third. Well, he missed the third one once, but didn't lose too much time. That trick is really hard to make, and so it's incredible that Mello has converted on 3 of them already, with only 1 missed attempt between all 3. Next, the boss fight here is Tomahawk Man, and the one thing about the fight that makes it rather difficult is that it's an exact ammo fight. It takes 7 hits from the plant barrier, which is Tomahawk Man's weakness, to take him out, but you only get 7 uses of the plant barrier from a full bar. So, if you use a plant barrier frame too early and it gets swallowed up by Tomahawk Man's invincibility frames, you'll lose several seconds as you'll have to menu back to another weapon. and then take Tomahawk Man out that way. Fortunately for both our runners, that happened to neither one. The next stage is Yamato Man, where our runners will be taking a certain split path. In 4 of the stages of Mega Man 6, you can take an alternate path to a different version of the same boss. And the only difference is that they will grant you one of 4 parts for Beat, the robotic bird, who, if you have ever played Mega Man 5, are probably very familiar with. However, Beat is pretty bad in this game, so no one goes out of their way to collect the parts. However, we will be taking the split path Madu is about to do, because it is simply the faster option. In all other 3 cases, the split path is slower, but because this path is faster, we end up with 1 Beat part for the rest of the run. Next up is Yamato Man. An important thing about the Mega Man 6 bosses is that, with the exception of Nightman, who we will visit shortly, they can never do the same attack 3 times in a row. This is rather important for bosses like Yamato Man, who have only 2 attacking patterns. Because if Yamato Man, say, does a walking attack twice, then you know he'll do the jump attack. The next Robot Master is the only one contrary to that rule. Nightman will do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. However, that is not the immediate problem at the hand of these runners. Instead, it's this spike room. To anyone who's played Mega Man 4 or Mega Man 5, you'll know these crusher rooms. However, this one has a property where it goes up if it's hit by if it touches Mega Man. Normally, that would be instant death, but by strategically damage boosting off of an enemy there, you can the crusher will touch you while you're in iframes, and it's just free. Sliding to the end of the room. Meanwhile, we switch to the Yamato Spear, which is also the boss's weakness, because it does a really good job at taking out these pot enemies. They require 1 hit to have their weak point poke out, and another to take out said weak point. And Yamato Spear is really good at the job. Now, Mello enters the Bouncy Castle with all these bounce spheres on both sides of the ceiling. It's not easy to navigate through them, but he executed it perfectly. Let's see if Madu can equal him. And he does. Next up, the Nightman fight. It's somewhat trivialized by the fact that the Yamato Spear can go through Nightman's shield. That shield can block normal buster shots. So, making sure that you have enough Yamato Spear is rather important for this fight. Ooh, looks like Madu had a rough fight there. But the Yamato Spear weapon ammo issue is only something that comes up late in the run if a certain boss fight goes really badly. I checked the times when they clicked on the Centaur Man stage, and I believe that Madu is about 4 seconds ahead of melloflowz. And the commentator's curse strikes one. And the apologies for what I was saying. But the commentator's curse is something that's only explained if it needs to be. So hopefully we shall only cross that bridge if we come to it. Anyway, Centaur Man is the water level of the stage, and another example of using the boss's weakness in the stage. The Night Crusher is a pretty versatile weapon. I believe you can fire it in 6 directions, and it also has a pleasurable boomerang curve. And also deals good damage, and you can have 2 of them on screen at a time. All in all, a pretty solid weapon that works really well for Centaur Man stage. Oh, I think Mello might have just gotten another ladder jump in Centaur Man, though I'm not sure. Ooh, Madu went for it, and he got it on the 2nd try. melloflowz, on the other hand, turns the boss court and is entering the Centaur fight. The main thing that you want to avoid is Centaur Man using his Centaur Flash to freeze the screen. For a long time, no one knew how you were supposed to do that, but it was discovered a couple years ago that as long as one of you is in iframes, then Centaur Man won't flash the screen, which both runners have executed perfectly, and there were no time stops. And yes, as someone put in the chat, melloflowz has been getting some pretty good patterns. Now that the Robot Master stages have been completed, the runners are now entering the X Fortress, featuring the last 4 levels of the game. They also feature a lot of design around using the rush adapters, the jetpack one, and the power suit, which leads to a lot of interesting weapon routing. However, the main thing of notice that the runners will be doing in X1 will be breaking this window. This leads to an escape, to a bit of a alternate route that is much faster than what it would happen if you jetpacked up to the ladder. As you can see, that trick is rather simple to execute that way, but there is a faster strat, much more difficult, and Mello got a ladder jump again. Can we get some props in chat for this guy? He's on a roll. And anyway, this is Rounder X2. His weakness is the Flame Blast, but if you use the property of Flame Blast, where it creates a pillar of fire on the floor, it deals damage per frame instead of dealing only 1 damage. Since Rounder X2 has 28 health and the Flame Blast deals 4 damage, it can just decimate the health bar of Rounder X2 and make the fight much faster than it would be on a casual playthrough where you didn't know about this trick. Heading into X2, we have the acorn falling platforms. They're pretty annoying because they keep canceling your slide due to the weird way they fall. So, yeah, the runners need to mash A throughout that segment. Meanwhile, we see a fair amount of use of the silver tomahawk. It's a weapon that has pretty tight ammo routing. So, making sure that you properly execute all the shots in the stage is pretty important to have a good run. It is the weakness of the final boss. All 3 phases of the final boss, that is. So making sure you have enough of it is crucial. And here's the major test. Power Piston. This guy is really annoying. He climbs up and down the wall, seemingly randomly. And his weakness is the Silver Tomahawk, which has a pretty good trajectory for hitting him. Generally good piece of advice is to always keep at least part of Mega Man's sprite on that wrench-looking tile. Because of the way that the Silver Tomahawk starts out by going forward and then curves up, it's a generally good place to be, as you can adjust for unusually high positions with the short jump. Next stage is X3, or as it's called by pretty much every speedrunner, the Jet stage, because you'll be using the Jet power the Rush Jet adapter for quite a while through a stage, as the alternative would require a lot of standing on a platform, a lot of alternating those 2 platforms, which have seesaw physics in the sense that when one goes down, the other goes up. Consequently, Jet is used a lot throughout the stage. Of course, the downside to the powered and the Jet adapters is that you cannot slide while you're in them, but this isn't much of a concern when these speedrunners spend most of the time in the air. Ooh, Madu made a rather tight jump into the boss corridor. This fight is against Met-Z, or as one speedrunner splits who I unfortunately cannot remember, Met Tyson's Punch-Out. His normal weapon weakness is to the Blizzard attack, but that's slow, both slow and laggy. So instead, the POW suit, which can charge up really fast, if executed properly, you can make the fight pretty fast. And with that, we head into X4, the final level of the X Fortress, or the X Castle, whatever you want to call it, and argued by some to be the hardest level in the run. And Madu got a nice little squeeze in between the wall and the cannon there. Not the easiest trick in the book, but currently Madu is really tearing it up through X4. This is the only other stage where Night Crusher is really used. So, given that you do not replenish ammo in these stages, taking a death is rather costly, as you can't really use the Night Crusher as much, or at risk of running out of ammo for later. Fortunately, Madu seems to have gotten through a rather dangerous part without anything going wrong. He's actually been having a really good speedrun here. And he makes it to the final boss of the X Fortress, the X Crusher. Oh, and he's doing the flame fight. This is a lot riskier, but he does have the health to make it work. The alternative strat to this fight is to use the POW suit. Meanwhile, Mr. X has been defeated, and is misspelled failed. Shoutouts to Capcom for inadvertently creating a legendary Wait, that was Dr. Wily all along? I'm sorry, Twitch chat, I wasn't prepared for this, But hey, at least he does have a really cool Wily Fortress. Mello doesn't have as much health, so he's going for the POW fight, which he executes flawlessly. looks like Madu is ahead by a good amount, by roughly 10 to 15 seconds. So anyways, X1 is another stage, but X1 is like Wily 1 in the sense that these stages have split paths, which are easier to take. So by jetpacking over to that breakable block, you can use the POW suit to reveal some sort of escape hatch, where you just fall a couple screens and all is well. So, Madu is about to get into the Mechasaurus fight, which has been who has been affectionately nicknamed by many members of the community as Puff the Magic Hitbox. You're supposed to hit him in the eyes with the Yamato Sphere, but as you'll notice, there is already one shot that seemingly hit him, that, however, it didn't register damage. That's because the hitbox for Mechasaurus is objectively awful and really annoyingly narrow. Fortunately, Madu got through that fight with little trouble. Let's see if Mello can get the same result. Well, actually, melloflowz froze, or as one Twitch chat member a week ago cleverly suggested, mellow froze. So I guess we'll have to wait and see the result there. Now we have another split path, which you need to, instead of using the POW suit to break a block, you need to use the Flame Blast to break a ice wall of sorts. It takes a pretty tight jump from that Yoku block to destroy the ice wall and go through it. So kudos to Madu for that. That's a deceptively difficult trick. And right as Madu's entering the boss corridor for the next boss, actually, remember those gorilla bid bosses from Plant Man stage, which they which both runners shredded through with the Flame Blast? Well, yeah. This boss here is basically a modified version of the gorilla. However, it has a weakness. However, its weakness is to windstorm instead of just getting obliterated by anything. It's a pretty fast fight, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Madu be done with the fight by the time he unfreezes. Oh, speaking of the fight, Mello has unfroze, and yeah, that was the fight. It's pretty easy. I'll just leave it at that. Oh, now Mello enters 3, which is the refight stage, where you fight all the 8 robot masters again, for those of you who are unaware. These screens are deceptively difficult to perform. These screens are, well, what am I saying? They're deceptively difficult, but Mello just nailed it front to back. Now it should be just a couple more screens to the refights, which Madu is already at. It looks like he already defeated Flame Man and is heading on to Tomahawk Man. Remember, this is an exact ammo fight, so you really don't want to see an early plant barrier here. Meanwhile, Mello takes on Blizzard Man, who we haven't seen yet due to stream issues, but lots of those rolling patterns he gives you, where he rolls into a ball and charges at you, the better, because he's invulnerable that whole time. Meanwhile, Madu's taking on the Windman, who, with a Centaur Flash, is an exact ammo fight. Fortunately, Centaur is a full-screen weapon. So, As long as you just time your button presses right, it's pretty easy. Ooh, Madu got frozen. And he's also running short on night pressure. So he'll ship to the power adapter, which can deal pretty good damage, but still a bit of a rough time lost there. Next up for Madu is Nightman, who once again refuses to follow the you can't do the same move 3 times in a row rule that all the other Robot Masters must subscribe to. But he got a rather good pattern there. So the crisis is crisis averted. Meanwhile, Mello has enough night ammo, so he should be able to gain back some seconds on Centaur Man, which he does. Great fight from Mello there. So, after Yamato Man, here comes one of the most important parts of the refights. Let's seeing if he can get to the plant manip. Remember, he needs to line up at a specific pixel. And looks like he got it. Yeah, 6 hits on the plant manip. 5 hits are practically guaranteed, but a 6 is harder to do. So yeah, great plant fight for Mello there. Next up, finally, we have Yamato Man. You just don't want to miss Silver Tomahawks here, because, as I said earlier, it's the weakness of the final boss. So, Mello missed 1 Silver Tomahawk there, but because of the ammo routing, he should be pretty good. Heading into the final stage, Wily 4. There's one really important thing to remember. You really do not want to slide off this edge, and oh, it looks like Madu is at the Wily machine already. And now he's at the Wily capsule fight. Wily capsule can have a bunch of random spawns. You can handle them rather easily thanks to Silver Tomahawk. And time for Madu. Unless Mello, it looks like he'll take race 1. However, let's see if Mello can get... Oh, he missed the early hit. If you fire a Tomahawk early, then you can get what's known as an early hit, where where Wily 2 loads, and you can... where Wily 2 loads, Wily's phase 2 of the Wily machine loads, and one of the Tomahawks can hit him right as he spawns in. So yeah, Madu took that race by a margin of 22 seconds, which in a race setting, it's rather close. Both of those runners had great runs. So, with that, we'll be back in a few minutes. For the second race. Hello, everyone. We now return to Mega Man 6 tournament. Currently, Madu is up 1 race on melloflowz. Both of them had very good runs on the first race. So the big question is if they can maintain most of their consistencies throughout this second game. I feel that Madu just makes one major mistake. Mello could swoop in and force the game 3. The race could be starting soon. And Madu is off to win the man. It appears there was a bit of screen buffering on melloflowz and so it will be initially hard to tell who's ahead. Getting through one man, it's once again the important thing. The important fundamentals of Mega Man 6 speedrunning. Making sure that you have adequate space to charge your buster. And, of course, using proper slide cancels. Because, as I said before, you cannot jump out of a slide in this game. I just go through all the other Mega Man buttons. That is. And already, Madu's made his way to win the man. And again, this will be a pretty good fight. As long as he keeps doing those slide cancels, which charge up his buster also slightly faster. And wow, he's getting like 6 of them then, or buster shots. Great slide canceling from Madu. And of course, the technique of hopping up against the wall a few times to reduce lag. So also executing some pretty good slide cancels. And she's taking out Wind Man too. Next up, Flameman. Once again, do not want to die in the stage, only because of the way the real pitch function. However, it's an all clean execution from Madu so far. Even up to that package boost from the the turret shot. And all Mega Man games beyond Mega Man the first two installments. You can you always if you get damage, you always receive knockback in the direction that you are not facing. So by starting around, you get backwards, going forward. So, rather important technique to master. And clearly all the Mega Man games, because it's almost a guarantee that they will contain a fair amount of intentional damage boost. And now Madu is on its way to flame. Of course, the important part about the fight is that you just don't want to see as many jumps as you can't hit Flame Man while he's jumping. Outside that, there isn't really much else to say, as the Wind Blast goes through all of Flame Man's parts. I say Wind Blast, I meant Wind Storm, the weapon that you get from Flame Man, which Madu has just done is Flame Blast. The third stage in this game is one that we did not get to see a lot of on the last race due to operating issues. Lizard Man stage. The importance of canceling your slide with a cancel as opposed to turning around is once again of important note. Now that Madu is in the submarine realm, this is a moment where one can gain your loads. Warriors didn't expect now time because of the cycling nature of the submarine. Madu got through pretty quickly, right, which I think considered. And now he's on to the final screen. He goes to the bomb. Once again, to reiterate, when you try and slide underneath the bomb instead of hopping on. However, it's a bit unadvisable because of its luck-dependent nature. Listen, man, it's not another example of luck-dependent nature, as he has two attacks. One of them is blizzard attack, where he creates four snowflakes that attack you. The other is when he rolls into a ball and you really want to get as few rolls as possible, because Lizard Man is invulnerable during that when he's rolling. Looks like both our runners got 2 rolls there. So I kept track of time, and I believe that melloflowz is 3 seconds ahead of Madu at this point in time. During the gorilla mini-bosses once more, the Flame Blast really does tear through them, dealing an equivalent of 4 damage, and so, with good mashing, you can just obliterate the boss in one jump. Let's see if Mellow can accomplish the same result. Oh, he needs 2 jumps there. And 2. At the same time, Madu also requires 2 jumps for the second gorilla. Mashing is, as in every game, a difficult craft. So making sure that you have a consistent mash is pretty important. Meanwhile, let's see if Madu goes for plant forms. And he gets plant forms. You're supposed to shoot those platforms open, but there's actually 6 frames. If you land on one when it's unopened, you have a 6-frame window to jump off of it. Let's see if Mellow can get it. And Mellow gets the plant forms as well. Great job by both runners. That's not an easy trick. Speaking of not easy tricks, looks like Madu got the Plant Man manip. And he's down already. Once again, Madu jumped against the right side of the wall to reduce lag when the boss particles are still leaving the screen. And Mellow got the manipulation as well. Madu, never lucky in the Twitch chat. What a legend. So, looking at their times, it appears that they are tied, as they take Flame Blast out for a romp through Tomahawk Man stage. Since Flame Blast has 28 shots per full weapon bar, you can use the weapon a lot, and Madu went for the ladder jump, but he didn't get it, unfortunately. Going for it again, and he hits the ladder jump. Mellow did not go for the ladder jump there, but he might be able to get it here. And Mellow gets the ladder jump as well. Once again, not an easy trick, and so the fact that they're able to execute it with 1 or no failed attempts is pretty remarkable. And Madu makes it to Tomahawk Man with no ammo to spare of Flame Blast. Tomahawk Man is also an exact ammo fight, as the plant barrier requires 7 hits to take him down, but you only have 7 uses out of it. So, coupled with the obnoxiously long invincibility frames of Mega Man 6 Robot Masters, you really do not want to see a missed plant barrier here. Let's see if Mellow can avoid the same fate. Avoid that treacherous fate. Looks pretty good so far. And great fight. Once again, it looks like they are just about tied, heading into Yamato Man stage, where once again they will be taking the split path to the true Yamato Man, simply because it's faster. It also has a side effect of giving you a beat part, but we don't really care about those because beat serves basically no use in this game. Sorry, Mega Man 5. So, here's Madu taking the jetpack to get to the to the split path. And just as a clarification, the split path that you saw on melloflowz' screen, or rather, the reunification of the two paths, that's a completely different one that has no impact on the beat, but instead just is an alternate route featuring a rather unique mini-boss. Once again, it features a mini-boss, so it's a lot slower. Heading into Yamato Man, this is where the rule of you cannot do the same attack 3 times in a row comes into play. Yamato Man threw his spear point twice, so Madu knew he was going for a jump on his 3rd attack, and planned accordingly. The same will apply to Mello. He knows Yamato is going for a jump there, so he can space himself properly to fire a tomahawk that damages them there. And yes, Manix, you are right. This race so far is really incredible, and I do wish that they were synced. But looking at the timing, they're just about tied. And Madu makes it through the Night Crusher room. There's pretty tight execution there. So you really just don't want to let there be a slight mistake. And Mello makes it through as well with a couple optional damage boosts in exchange for making it a lot safer. Ooh, Madu missed 1, 2 Yamato spear shots, but fortunately those don't lose too much time, it's just an additional damage boost off an enemy. Now Madu's in the Bouncy Castle. Let's see if he can... Ooh, he had to take an extra jump there, but other than that, great bouncy house from Madu there. Mello also takes an extra jump. You don't need to take an extra jump there, but it's really tight execution otherwise. Nightman, ooh, giving Madu a couple unfortunate jumps. But he still manages to take him out nonetheless. However, there is still a chance for Mello to gain a precious few seconds, just from good RNG. See, and there we have it. Mello got no jumps from Nightman, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him a couple seconds ahead of Madu by keeping track of when they enter stages. Yes, I believe Mello is 2 or 3 seconds ahead. Once again, Sindar Man stage features pretty fair usage of the Night Crusher because of its boomerang capabilities, good damage, and the fact that you can have multiple Night Crushers on the screen at once. It's a pretty underrated weapon and would probably get a lot more use if it wasn't for the Flame Blast being so effective in a lot of other situations. There actually is a separate route of Mega Man 6, Night First, which I believe it's the second fastest route. But yeah, as you can imagine, it heavily demises use of the Night Crusher. And I think Madu wanted the ladder jump, but was too far ahead and went down and then up a couple times. We've all been there. Let's see if he can get a ladder jump here. And he gets it on the second try. Once again, not an easy trick. Try it yourself if you disagree. And Mellow gets the ladder jump first try. Now, all left for Madu is to get no flashes from Centaur Man. And he makes it through with one Night Crusher to spare. I believe that Mellow is now 2 or 3 seconds behind. He must have experienced a minor time loss in Centaur Man. Still a very close race as we approach the X stages. Once again, in that room Madu was just in, proper jet flying is crucial because you really do not want to fly into the spikes there. And Madu is now into the alternate path, which you can get by breaking that window. It's faster than the other way, which involves more rush jet adapter usage. So it's quite preferred. Next up, Rounder X2, and once more, Madu will be looking to get those to hit the flame blasts on the wall instead of the rounders because of their damage per frame. And there's one of them and the other. The damage per frame aspect of the flame blast when it's on the wall is very handy against a boss who is guaranteed to run by that wall. And looks like Mellow, minor hiccup there, but he's still good. However, you can't help but feel that even the slightest mistake will allow Madu to run away with his lead. And a clean acorn bridge slide from Madu there. Using the Silver Tomahawk to conveniently clear out these mets. These are all pretty careful shots because, as seen before, Silver Tomahawk is quite important, and you really do not want to miss any extra shots. And right as I say that, Madu approaches the king of making you miss unnecessary shots. Enter Power Piston. If you were here last time we saw this guy, you know he's a jerk. His randomized movement up and down the wall is really annoying. However, Madu managed to handle the fight rather well by sticking to the rule of thumb to stand on that wrench-looking tile. That's the third tile from the left on screen. Because of the path of the Silver Tomahawk, standing on there is the best option. Meanwhile, Mellow is also having a pretty good Power Piston fight, and he takes care of it with these. Next Currently, Madu is on the jet stage of Mega Man 6 X3. He should hop back onto the jet in a couple of screens, mostly because of, as you can see Mello doing right now, those seesaw-esque platforms just take a really long time to traverse without the power of a temporary jetpack. But they're quite useful in that regard. The jetpack, I mean, not the platforms. Rush is, once again, a good boy. And a rather tight jump through those two, and into the melloflowz boss fight. Or, as its true name should be, Met Tyson's Punch-Out. I am very sorry I cannot remember the speedrunner who came up with that for his splits. Really creative name. Anyways, it's like a pretty good fight for Madu so far. And there goes melloflowz. Now, Madu is on to X4, the last stage of the X Fortress. We promise, no tricks. And also the hardest stage in the game. Ooh, Madu having a little trouble with the turret enemies there. But overall, he's still doing quite well. A death, however, would be rather unfortunate because of the routing of Night Crusher in the stage. Seems he's opting to play it safe with a couple safer damage boosts. But still, this is a very difficult stage to do quickly. And great job through the room with those gunslinger enemies from Tomahawk Man stage. They take 2 Night Crushers to kill, and you can have 2 Night Crushers on screen at once. So just hitting both of them is a really satisfying experience. Now Madu is onto the X Crusher, and he's taking an E-Tank so he can use the Flame Blast strategy. I believe he did not have enough health to do the... He did not have the necessary amount of health to do the fight with Flame fully without dying. So he opted to use an E-Tank so he could go for the fast fight. Mello, on the other hand, decided to go with the POW strat and executes it flawlessly. Using POW makes the X Crusher act like basically a regular old swinging punching bag. So in that regard, it is definitely the safer option, but Flame Blast strategy is faster. Meanwhile, as we head into the Wily Fortress, which in my opinion has the coolest aesthetic of all the Wily Fortresses, the mix of a Japanese temple and all that. Once again, you'll be seeing jet usage throughout a lot of the stage, and most importantly to grab this escape hatch, which is, was the case with X1, a lot faster than taking the not as hidden path. And yes, as the chat mentioned, RNG will probably play a big factor coming into this last stretch of levels. These runners are neck and neck. And, ooh, really good Megasaurus fight so far. And I jinxed him. Fortunately, Madu manages to get through cleanly, and Mello enters the room only a couple of seconds or so behind Madu. It'll be really interesting to see how this pans out. Ooh, couple not so great. Ooh, 4, 5, you saw it here now. 6 instances of Megasaurus's hitbox being really small, narrow, and not really registering a hit when it really looked like it should have hit. He's a fun boss. Oh yeah, looks like with that, Madu will take a larger lead heading into X2. If I say X2, I meant Wily too. So, we didn't get to see a lot of this fight due to buffering issues last time around. But again, the stream's been holding up pretty stable. This is supposed to be like the second coming of the gorilla mini-bosses from Plant Man stage. They also happen to be just as easily defeated. Let's see how Mello does there. Pretty clean fight for melloflowz there. Now, Madu will take this opportunity to refill his silver tomahawk. Almost to full. And he makes it to the end of that screen, which is surprisingly difficult and an easy place to mess up, which given the fair amount of spikes in the room, is rather worrisome. Now, we enter the final threshold of RNG, the refights. Madu wants to see as few rolls from Blizzard Man as possible. So, there's 1. 2. I believe he had a total of 2 or 3 rolls there, which is part for the course when it comes to Blizzard Man's luck. Next up, Flame Man, and he'll want to see as few jumps as possible. Meanwhile, Mello at Blizzard Man got 2 rolls already. And 3 rolls, so they should be roughly even coming out of that Blizzard Man fight. Now, Madu makes a mistake with his use of Plant Barrier. He could lose some time, but fortunately for him, that isn't the case. As he cleanly makes it through Tomahawk Man and moves on to Wind Man, the other exact ammo fight. Fortunately, it's a lot easier, because owing to Centaur Flash's property as a full screen weapon. Now, melloflowz, another good Tomahawk fight. Let's see if Madu can avoid his previous mistakes, and end the stage, and not to get frozen in time. It looks pretty good so far, and he's through, no problem. Next up is Nightman. This feels like it could be something of a concern for melloflowz, given how much Matosphere he had to use on Megasaurus a couple stages back. So, as long as Madu gets good luck on this fight, which he did, only 1 jump from Nightman there, he might be able to pull away a little. And Mello gets a clean Centaur Man fight. Now, if Madu can get the manipulation, and looks like he got it. And there it is, a really fast Plant Man kill. It looks like Mello has just enough Yamato ammo to take out Nightman, which he does so successfully. Now, you want to see as few misses as possible from Yamato Man, in this case. From the Silver Tomahawk against Yamato Man. Meanwhile, I think Mello got the manip. And yep, 5 hits from Blizzard during the manipulation. And he's on to Yamato Man. Meanwhile, Madu should be in good shape for Silver Tomahawk so long as he does not slide off the edge, which he didn't. So he'll enter the final boss. So he'll enter the mid-boss, another one of these Met Dropper enemies, with the full ammo. Since he connected all 5 hits, he can only miss 2 Silver Tomahawks in all 3 phases of the Wily machine. Looks pretty good so far. Can he get the early hit? And he got the early hit. Nice job there. So far so good, he hasn't missed once. While Mello also had a clean mini-boss there. Ew, I think Madu missed a Silver Tomahawk. But that's time for Madu at 34-34. Meanwhile, Mello missed one. And he missed another, so he's going to need a perfect aim for the rest of this fight. So he cleans up. So he takes out phase 2 rather handily. And now the Wily Capsule. 3 hits. It looks like he tried to go for an off-screen hit, but it didn't work. So he'll have to switch to the power adapter. Oh no, Wily was out of range there. He can get him here, and he does. Time for melloflowz at 34-57. And that makes Madu the winner. 2-0, and what's definitely a very close race. On both sides of the ball, or rather, Blizzard Man. That was a very fun and exciting race between the 3rd best PB and the 6th best PB in this tournament. GG's to both runners. They did a great job. If I recall correctly, the next, for those of you interested in keeping up with the Mega Man 6 tournament, the next race should be, if I recall correctly, also on SpeedGaming too, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So yeah, that was a great race, and I'll go see if either of them are ready for an interview, are going to be up for an interview. Thanks for watching.